Hello, everyone. It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajulo Olabisi Ubo, and with me are the ladies. Excellent morning, YK.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, NYMA. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning.
First of all, our heartfelt condolence goes out to the family of late Alao Akabashoron and the Fuja family over the glorious demise of Mrs. Kudirat Alao Akabashoron née Fuja, who is our own Mariah's mom. She passed away yesterday, the 22nd of September, at the age of 75. When we're told yesterday, it was really painful. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. We're still hoping that she'll get better, she'll stand on her own 2 feet. But let me come to you, YK. How was it?
Very sad. Very, very sad. Mariah and her siblings, my heart goes out to you. I know I had really thought she was getting better. And then I started to ask Mariah, and her responses were not very positive, but she said she was praying. And on Tuesday, I still asked her again. And she said they've moved her home. She wasn't responding. And you know, because we just treat health so badly in this country. They gave this lady chemo when they shouldn't have. You know, in England, when my cousin had cancer, before they gave him chemo, they would check everything, make sure his body can take it, because it's such a powerful drug. I remember when my sister before my sister died, they administered chemo on her without checking. My sister died, her eye had come out like this. You know, it was such a painful way to see my sister go. You know, so Lai Shegun Murayo, may you bear this pain with strength.
Nima.
Okay, so I'm one of the privileged ones to have had a personal relationship with Mrs. Akabashoron. I remember immediately my father passed, I kept seeing her missed calls, and I wasn't in the frame of mind to take calls, but I think my WhatsApp number, the number was switched off. She found a way to call me on WhatsApp because I'd set up WhatsApp on another phone, and she reached out to me at a point when she said, I know you don't want to talk, I understand your relationship. So fortunately, after I resumed, I made sure to go and see her. And we had a one-on-one, no interruption, 1 hour talk, myself and I can still remember the advice, you know, the constant talks between myself and her. She was looking so well. Nothing looked bad. So the images I have of her is that at that time, and I'd like to just cherish that. So I can only imagine what those around her children, particularly, how they will feel, you know, seeing. I've not gotten over seeing a loved one's lifeless body. I think it's the most traumatizing thing to go through. So for me yesterday, I just kept talking, giving myself sermons, and going to class. For those left behind is a series that I used to help myself with death and loss of a loved one. And I kept going back to it yesterday. It made it a bit easier. But I know this is not why people always say you don't cry, you don't mourn a loved ones at once. You don't do it all at once. It's, for some people, it's a lifetime of mourning. I pray that they have, God blesses the family, the children, with the fortitude to bear this. But it's a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, my heart does go out to Mariah and her family, you know, the whole entire family. During the illness, I made it a point of duty to dedicate time to pray for her specifically. It was something, you know, you and I talked about. So may God grant the family the fortitude to bear this loss.
Amen. She will surely be missed. She was a huge fan of me. I didn't even know she was following me on Instagram for the longest time. I just know there's a particular woman who would send me messages and everything. Till Mariah said, that's my mom. I'm like, whoa. So I went back, I followed her. She follows up my business. When she calls, she buys my market, she buys hair, she buys clothes, she buys bags. When she calls, the first thing she does is to pray for me. She can take minutes praying for me, admiring my work and all of that. And I don't know, when I heard the news yesterday, I was numb. I was really, really numb because I didn't see it coming in my consciousness at all. But I pray that God will give the family the strength, like you said, give the family the fortitude to bear this loss, and remind the family that she has gone to a better place. She has definitely gone to a better place. That will give them some form of hope, and we will meet again someday.
The city of Lagos, the people of Lagos Island, the people of Lagos, the circles that matter would miss her. She had a strong influence in the June 12 elections. She was a great supporter of the MK Abiola. She did her work in her youth. She had her influence at the time. And even when she retired, she continued to influence things. She's not one name that, it's not because she's Moriah's mom. She's Mrs. Satinuke Akabashoru. She's who she is in her own rights. And I know that this news is going to touch a lot of people in Lagos.
She's a strong woman.
Very strong.
She was my auntie that passed away last year. Was it last year? I met her there. Was it the year before? They were best friends, So I console myself that they're together now in heaven.
And we'll meet someday. All right, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Let's start with the nation. Nigeria pushing to recover 2 billion loot. 2.3 billion cocaine seized at Abuja airport. NDLEA arrests suspect. Makinde nominates 5 as commissioners. 5 billion debts. AMCON takes over ex-governor's mansion. Zoning, PDP, not leaders take formula before panel. VAT row threatens federal government 8.36 trillion 2022 revenue target. Subsidy scam, how firm defrauded government of 1.4 billion, Bauer tells court. Who has what story in the nation?
I do. I have the NDLEA story. So, Mr. Oke Eze, a 38-year-old who was arrested for carrying on himself and his luggage cocaine worth 2.3 billion naira. They said he had about 350 wraps of cocaine in different parts of his luggage that he had, put in. And he was arrested at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja. He said that the reason why he did it was to take care of the 4 children his older brother had left behind after he had passed. That he had talked to a friend and asked the friend to help him with some money. The friend says, well, I can't help you with money. Well, pick up this package for me in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and bring it to a contact that I would tell you, when you get to Nigeria, who to drop it with. And it was in the course of that he was arrested. So, sometimes when they interview these people, we get to hear them say, oh, I wanted to bury my father, I want to help. We need to find legitimate ways to make money. But the other thing is that I hope NDLEA also was able to trace the contact he was sending that thing to before they brought this out. Because what this would do, it would send the other person into hiding.
Yeah. Yes. Any other story in the nation?
Yeah, the open grazing, Akeredolu, Okowa, and Ohanese have slammed in El-Rufai, saying that he's playing to the gallery and he's encouraging anarchy. They're saying he's externalizing banditry. El-Rufai had said, we're not against the open grazing, but we're saying let us plan to do the ranches, make the ranches. You can't do it in one day. So be patient. And this one that you have all bandits is wrong. But they are saying, look, we have to protect our residents. Yeah. You can say, play to gallery and say, oh yes, you are planning it. But in the meantime, what's happening to our citizens? They're dying. They're being kidnapped. So I think that these governors should actually come and sit down together and plan this thing.
The governors of the north and the south?
the south,
Nigerian
okay.
government.
All of them. It's not just the north, you know, because this is division.
Yeah.
In any way you look at it, the north is saying one thing, the southern governors are saying another thing. So if they don't come together, they are feeding the flames of this disunity.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's just disheartening to read this kind of story.
Okay, so I have a story here. The federal government has begun moves to recover 2 billion stolen funds stashed in foreign countries' financial institutions. It's also pursuing to recover associated assets in Ireland and other foreign nations. So according to them, they said they are coordinating new recoveries in the UK as well. And in the past 4 years, they have recovered over 700. They didn't write whether it's million or billion now, but they just said $700 stolen funds from foreign countries. So we hope that by the time they get this money, they'll use it judiciously to better the lives of Nigerians. So moving on to the Punch. Jega Utomi groups, others team up against APC PDP unveil party October 1st. Daily fuel consumption jumps to 72 million liters. Subsidy hits 541 billion. PDP zones national chair's slot to Southwest. North gets secretary. AMCON seizes ex-governor Ahmed houses freezes accounts over 5 billion debts. Cooking gas marketers lack facilities, says NLNG. Price hits 7,000. Wow. Let private managers operate port scanners, stakeholders tell federal government. Ohaneze demands Kanu's release. IPOP threatens 30-day shutdown. 2023 Southern Presidency sacrosanct. Afenifere backs governors. Ogun pensioners grounds secretariat. Lockout SSG protesting 68 billion gratuity arrears. Mother-Child Initiative supports over 3,000 indigent pregnant women. El-Rufai masquerading as leader, exporting banditry to South, Akeredolu. Pregnant woman, 2 others kidnapped in Ogun Forest during prayer. Abductors demand 30 million. Bello raises campaign team, says rotational presidency alien to APC. What story do you have?
The cooking gas story. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association had accused the government, the LNG, that's Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, that they do not have the capacity to give, that they're not supplying adequate gas. That's why there's scarcity in the market. That some foreign investors who came into the market had underestimated, you know, the level of demand, and now they cannot deal with it, so they are importing gas. And the LNG Oga Patapata decided to reply saying that, yes, initially, LNG had a capacity of about 50,000 metric tons of gas, but they have increased that to 450,000. Yet, what Nigeria needs is 1.2 million of that. But even despite that 450,000 that they have, the independent marketers do not have the capacity, the infrastructure to, you know, to distribute what they're asking for. And that is not their business, that they don't have control over what your infrastructure can take per time and how much you can distribute per time. That the people need to build up capacity to handle what they have, the 450,000 that they have. And if they do that, this demand and supply will meet at some point, and we can have gas cheap again. But this importing of gas is why we have a skyrocket in the price. I think government should do more than just this, both of them responding to each other, because this is a major survival need for people.
Talking about survival needs, pensioners in Ogun State, under the auspices of the Local Government Pensioners Association of Nigeria, were at the State Secretariat to protest the non-payment of 68 billion naira 10-year outstanding gratuities. They said, you know, they were there, they had different placards, they blocked 2 main gates of the entrances to, you know, to the Secretariat, and even the Secretary to the State was not allowed entrance. And they said that, you know, most of the placards that they were holding, it read things like gratuities are on sale to pensioners, you know, Governor Dapo Abiodun, honor your father and treat pensioners well. Governor Abiodun, we do not deserve this humiliation amongst many others. Yesterday we talked about pensioners and just the sad state of affairs when it comes to people who have served, you know, their state, their country, and they are treated this way.
I was listening to the radio today, and Jimmy Disu was saying, oh, look, you just had this massive shutdown for your father, and pensioners in your state are not... They're not even being paid. Not even 10 years.
Despite the father saying to him,
don't do this.
Pensioners well. He said that himself. So, we like to make empty promises.
What they're saying is that, that the state government is struggling right now and they would eventually handle it.
I wanted to take the story of the 5 people who they said they were going to visit a friend, and the road was bad, so they parked their car. This was in Abeokuta, the Carrigo bus stop, that they had stopped to and decided to walk when the Fulani headsmen, they call them the Bororos, stopped them, and 2 managed to escape. 3 were taken, including an 8-month-old pregnant woman. The husband managed to run away. They're demanding 10 million for their release. And the police are saying, no, that they were not going to visit any friend. They were going to the mountain hilltop to go and pray or go for fasting. But the people should stop going for this, their
mountain prayers.
Mountain prayers in the bush. And that if you stop, if your car breaks down by that forest, please just start running to the nearest police station, so our police will escort you, because those people, they are full in that area, around that forest, and they're going to kidnap you.
Okay. So, I have a major
word of caution
headline story here, but we'll continue the newspaper reviews after this break. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So I wanted to take a story. Prominent Nigerians, including a former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega, and the political economist, Professor Pat Utomi, said that October 1st, they will unveil a mega political party. So according to INEC, they said 95 groups had already written to INEC that they wanted to be political parties. But what is going to happen is that these groups are coming together as a merger. So they understand that it's very expensive and cumbersome to, create a political party from the scratch. So they are going to leverage on the existing structures that all those smaller opposition parties have and come together. And their focus is going to be on electronic transmission of electoral results. They are going to focus on electoral reforms, political reforms, constitutional amendments, and that's what their focus is going to be on. And right now, they don't want to call it a political party because talks are still ongoing. But hopefully, after the launch, October 1st, and everything, they come together, they agree on the terms of the merger, they can now come out as a third force political party to challenge APC and PD.
Yeah, what happened was there was a meeting in Abuja, the Rescue Nigeria project.
Yeah.
And that had Atahiru Jega, it had Usman Bugaje, a lot of them were at this meeting. So everyone was thinking, oh, it's a political party. They said, no. It had some PDP, Donald Duke, some PDP people were there. So they said, there was, I've forgotten his name, said, no, that this was just a Rescue Nigeria project. This is not a political party. The political party with Utomi is different. That's different. Nigerian Consultative Forum or something.
Yes, but they would still change the name.
Yeah.
So they said, after they agree.
The Nigerian Consultative Forum, wants the Rescue Nigeria project, all of them to meet as one mega party. Yeah. But some of them are in PDP and say, no, third force. Nigeria needs a third force.
We do. More than a third force. We need like a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh.
Can we just have a third force of not recycled or retired party members?
Exactly.
I don't
we
want
don't
to see
want
the
anybody
regulars.
from PDP if they want a third force.
No, not from PDP. The regulars. Let's
APC, Look, we
unknown
don't
names,
want
young
anybody
people.
from the PDP, APC
who
alliance.
nominates them? Who will bring them out?
That's how parties that were formed, the ages and all of them, were people of like minds in school who had the same ideology, had the kind of minds
I
of
nominate
discussions.
NYMA. Let's move on to the Sun.
PDP, APC are one party.
Yeah, let's move on now to the Sun. IPOP threatens 1 month lockdown in Southeast. Laws against open grazing. Akeredolu hits El Rufai hard. Calls Cardinal Governor's statement against Southern governors devious. Yoruba Nation agitators protest in New York, demand separate states. Church of Nigeria wants bandits herders declared terrorists. Senate okays 13.98 trillion budget projection from 2022. Zoning. NEF doesn't speak for us. Southern Middle Belt Alliance. Who has what story in the Sun?
Okay, so I have the spokesperson for the South and Middle Belt Alliance, Mr. Rampam, has said that the Northern Elders Forum is not speaking for the whole of the North, for everyone. That's as regards to, the statement by the NEF spokesperson where he said that about the zoning of the presidency and insisted that the North, because of their numerical strength, will carry the presidency, and no one can determine for any zone or any person where the presidency should come from. And he's just saying that, see, all these talks left and right is quite divisive. That's for them, things, NEF does not represent everyone as they're saying, and they would, that's Samba now, are more for anything that will bring about justice, fairness, and for them, this topic on zoning, it's something that had been agreed upon, and that's what they will follow. And so all these little talks here and there will just make everybody fight each other, just like we're saying, divisive and things like that. So
any other story in the
Sun?
Sun?
The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, have said that, have threatened to lock down the whole of the Biafran Southeast
for a month.
For a month, if Kanu is not produced at the next hearing on October 21st, they have said they have heard that the DSS and the presidency are plotting to keep Kanu away from court. So if this happens, they will lock down the Southeast.
The whole of Southeast.
Yeah, for a month.
They are also talking about his health, that if he does not present, if they don't present him in court, they are not sure about his health and well-being in custody.
They had said that he went to Kenya for health reasons. But I don't know why he would leave London to go to Kenya for
health reasons.
Okay, moving on now to the Vanguard. Budget 22, experts frown as Senate passes MTEF FSP. Reps abandon probe of NDDC road contracts. 2023, tension as PDP zoning committee begins work. Maltreatment of envoy, reps demand apology from Indonesian government. Why we can't name shame sponsors of terrorism, Malami. Who has what story?
Major headline. So yesterday, the Senate passed the 2022 budget, which is sitting at a 13.98 trillion naira as the aggregate. They also passed the medium-term expenditure framework and the fiscal strategy paper. And they put our oil price benchmark at $57 to a barrel, and they put our exchange rate at 410 naira to a dollar. And I wonder how we do these things, Presently, the present reality is that even at our official rate, a dollar is over 500. And you'd expect that they will project along these lines, because in another story that I might take in the Tribune later, they're already approving extended loans and all of that. So let all this planning be with the present reality that we have on ground. Projected prices are, estimates. They can or might not be. So we might not make that excess crude that we're hoping on, and we can also not have our exchange rates ever drop to 410.
Do we have another story here?
Yes, we do. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister for Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, has said that, the federal government has identified the sponsors of terrorism and is going to, is quite determined to prosecute them. But that there's a process in which this is carried out, that they cannot at this point just,
name people.
right now because it may preempt investigation, but we should be rest assured investigation has advanced and we're getting there. It says that some of the things that caused some of the delay in prosecutions, especially with the 285 Boko Haram people that were caught and accused of, banditry and insurgency, he says that cases had been filed against them, but there's been delay. We remember the Juson strike, COVID, and things like that.
Everything has caused
they
delay.
are on their way. And just wish they could be more like the UAE. They just listed out names for us because every time we just hear we're working on it, they are going to tell us eventually.
But he said that they've been identified and the leakages for the funding has been blocked. But the security issues, they may not want to, publish everything till investigations are over.
Because even though the UAE told them, nobody knows
it was fully...
They didn't give us the names. UAE gave government the names, not us.
We're not supposed to have the names.
We have the names now. We read out the names.
Okay, let's move on.
We had names.
Let's move on now to
the
Tribune. We can't say government shouldn't borrow. Senate President. 4 die, 1 missing as 18-seater bus plunges into River Niger. Reps ask banks, telecom operators to refund 22 billion lost to fraudsters. Not groaning, yearning for restructuring. Who has what story? Quickly, federal government to prosecute terror sponsors.
The major headline again, with our debt servicing sitting at 99.75% of our total revenue, some senators in the House questioned the new application by the president to borrow. But the response that the Senate president gave them was that, he has asked the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to quickly consider the president's loan request that was brought before them, and that they cannot now say he should not borrow. That at this point, when we don't make hay while the sun shines, it's the kind of thing that you faced. We wasted our resources when we had the chance, and now our options are limited. I know we need to reduce borrowing, but the Committee of Finance is doing enough to ensure that government-owned enterprises increase revenue for the country. Let's also take into cognizance that the government might lose about 8.6 trillion that's supposed to come in from VAT if they lose this battle with River State. So all these projections that they're making, this is the time to be serious. So when you need to fast, you fast. But when the Senate president is already sympathetic to the cause of government, we might be forced to take loans, and our debt servicing alone, we don't have any revenue left.
I wanted to take another story. The House of Reps yesterday directed domestic banks in the country to refund 22 billion to customers whose accounts have been hacked by fraudsters. So they said after a lot of investigation, they understood that the massive thefts was in connivance with insiders, not just in the banks, but also in the telecom companies. And then they're asking NCC to prosecute all those found culpable in that transaction in the telecoms. This is a welcome development. At least those people who lost their money would have it back at the end of the day. The Guardian,
we hope that it translates.
Do we have time for the Guardian? You have the major story. Foreign cargo airlines depart empty over extortion, multiple charges.
So we have foreign cargo airlines bring cargo in, and rather than take cargo back, even supposedly free, which was the law, because now new agencies of government are trying every means to raise revenue. They've now created about 16 charges that the foreign cargoes must pay. 11 out of the 16 are fictitious. 4, are not tenable. Only 5 are legitimate. And so the foreign cargoes, rather than deal with that, are just traveling out. Because of this, we are losing about $250 billion allied markets because of that. So where we are doing laws, we should be thinking of how we grow this economy. Why do we have to lose that amount of money over
Thank you so much, ladies, for the newspaper reviews. That's all we can take. When we come back, we just all the way. It's Open House Thursday. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we found a story online where a woman was asking for advice about her husband who she found out was mourning his dead mistress. He even went as far as resigning from his place of work because according to him, they worked in the same place and he couldn't stand going there without seeing her. His wife is asking if she should wait for him to mourn and then go for therapy, or divorce him straight? We will really like to hear your thoughts on this. So join the conversation on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. Before we start this conversation, YK wanted to take some tubes.
Yes, a lot of tubes are commiserating with Mariah and her family. Ahmed Karim, may the Lord grant her eternal rest. Accept my utmost condolences. Aneka 16, may her gentle soul rest in peace. Sorry, Mariah, my heartfelt sympathy to you and the whole family. Sikira Tadiola, this is so sad. May her soul rest in perfect peace. May God give the family the fortitude to bear the loss. June says, may her soul rest in peace. Mariah, may the Lord grant you and your family strength. Christy Aluko, extending my deepest sympathy to Mariah and her family. Someone else is saying to the whole Fuja family, everybody is so. Thank you so much. Thank you for commiserating. We appreciate it. And Mariah, I hope will read
all of these messages.
Yes.
Okay, back to the story on the table.
The cocoa?
The cocoa is that somebody was cheating. The person he was cheating with now died. He now came home boldly to mourn. First of all, he resigned his job and is now mourning at home. The woman needs help. What are your thoughts on this? Let's start with Miriam.
I really wanted to hear what everyone had to say because I don't know how else to handle this. Like, what is she supposed to do? So the question is, she said, should she divorce him straight or should she go for therapy? Obviously, for her to ask that is that she wants to work on her marriage. So if that is what she wants to do, then you will go to therapy and sit down and hear him talk about the other mistress and how she makes him feel. And the thing is also to understand if the man wants a marriage too. Because for you to have been so involved with someone else to the point that you cannot even go back to work because that person has passed on, I don't know if he really sees you as the wife anymore. I don't know if he sees the marriage as a real marriage, if that was more of a marriage to him than to you. So first of all, you need to even know if he sees you as a wife, if you are really in a marriage according to him. And if you want to work on the marriage, of course, but the thing is, only one person can't work on the marriage. It has to be both of you agree to do that. I think part of the story was that she had asked that they go for therapy, but he says he wants to see a grief therapist to help him through the mourning. And I think that is better for him to go through his mourning, grieve for whoever it is that he's grieving, and then he'll have the presence of mind to face the marriage. But I think this is a tough one for her.
Yes. This matter. Except the man is an idiot and the woman is a fool.
Okay.
That is all. There is no.
What makes a woman a fool?
Wait. How do you fight a dead person?
You can never win.
You can never win.
You can never win.
So that grief is going to carry it, and you are going to be commiserating over his dead mistress. You must be a fool. Me, I will not even argue it. I leave you with your ghost. I pack my bag and go and find my own spirits. What? Even if you want to mourn, he left the job because she worked in the same firm.
Yes.
Even if you want to mourn, maybe you will mourn in secret.
Hey.
Just be saying, what's wrong with you? They sacked me in my work. So that I can mourn with you. You come and be mourning and you'll be mourning your dead mistress.
Wake up in the middle of the night.
You wake up and be crying in the middle of the night. The coronavirus used to knock your head. Go to the other room and cry till I can find another house to live. What?
Wow.
So I can't even talk on this matter.
I can't have mercy.
Have mercy.
Have mercy.
This one I can't have mercy.
This is for me a funny matter. So the woman is finally coming to admittance about the situation of her life. Some people are in polygamy and they're denying. So if her husband had a colleague in the office enough to mourn this bad, that means they've been in a polygamy for a long time that she did not want to admit. Yes. Because now, if she wants to enjoy, because some women in polygamy will not be enjoying that meeting law and all those kind of things. And so rather than just enjoy it, you're still calling family meeting on this. This woman is not planning to leave that marriage.
Yes.
So there's no point calling us into a meeting. She wants to work on it. So and you have finally admitted that your husband was more in love with someone else than you. This is a sad reality. Some people live in marriages that, from the beginning, they know. The beninging. They know that their husbands are in love with other people.
And they're okay with it?
They're okay with it from day one. So some people are in a tussle with a young girl over another man.
Or older.
Or even older, and they marry the man. They finally get in, sit down. Rather than face the reality, they are busy forcing conversations that will not help or go anywhere. So you will struggle collect somebody boy or husband. There's a high possibility that there are certain sentiments that are attached. If the marriage must work, you must admit certain things. So what you have admitted, we take out. It's called the elimination method. This one cannot worry you. This one cannot bother you. So now there is money. If it's for somebody like me who believes it, you will take, if he wants a lifetime money. The only thing is that the bills, the job will help. I cannot be money with you.
Stress, and be paying bills.
Our children's school fees is hanging. I saw you, but these are the bills. So,
NYMA, let's take this call. Chudy from Ojodu Vega. Good morning, Chudy.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you ladies. My sympathy to Mariah Falabi Brown.
Thank you.
And may God give her mother the internal rest.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Based on your topic, I think we're in a crazy world. Because when you mentioned it this morning, I was surprised that a normal human being who is cheating on the wife, are you there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, lost her, one of the concubines, and he came back, he resigned from work, came back home to mourn the mistress. I mean, that person needs to be examined whether he's all right, because I don't think he's all right.
Oh.
If he's all right, if he is all right, then he needs to see a counselor. You know about, we hear a lot of nonsense going on. Look at what is on. You came home where you have a wife to tell your wife that your mistress in the office is dead. This is crazy. We are in a crazy world. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Chudy. But it's the audacity for me.
No. She's supposed to think his colleague died.
No, she's aware.
Of the relationship, in the story.
She's aware the mistress is dead. And that is the reason for the resignation.
Colleague.
No.
So let me brief. So she'd always, while the relationship was going on, she didn't know there was a relationship. Yes. She only knew her as her husband's colleague. It was when she died and he started mourning that he now explained to her she wasn't just a co-worker, she was extra wife. Because that's the only way. Because that's the only way, really, I can explain this. Like you said, it was a polygamy, only that without her consent. She was not aware that she was in a marriage where she had a co-wife. And that, I also agree with the caller who says that, he has to see a therapist first. Because I'm talking to a woman who wants to work on the marriage now. So the man has to see a therapist first. He has to work on his grief. He has to work on his relationship or lack of it with, for himself. Then he will come and then she will decide, while he's going through his grief and his therapy, she will now sit down and be writing down what she thinks she will benefit by continuing this marriage, or what it is that she's lost, or why it's important, or why it will be worth it for her to work on this marriage. Because really, there's a danger in the single story, they say. So yes, we're looking at this man, first of all, as a man who had a mistress. But he may have been a good husband to her as the first wife or as the wife at home, a good provider, and things like that. So maybe those are the things that she knows. He's a friend. When I sit down, we talk. So there are many other parts of us as human beings. So maybe that's what is making her think, okay, let's see how I can work on this.
You just told
let's see. We'll continue this conversation after this break. Let's go. Let's simmer it. Simmer in a bit. We'll be back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So back to this matter. There were two important things that Miriam raised, which is one, the readiness for this man to work out his marriage. The wife had initiated already that they wanted to go to therapy, and he was like, no, I don't want therapy. I want to rather go for therapy for grieving. So his mind is still with the ghost, according to YK here. Now, when you find yourself, for instance, in that situation where your other partner is not ready to work it out, what are other options that this woman can
This
take?
woman
Excuse
owes
me,
her
excuse me.
husband.
I need to say something.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Before you all continue. You see, if NYMA is my husband, for instance, and Obiajulu is his mistress, is an end.
No, why? Excuse me. Why didn't you swap it? Why am I mistress? Why is he wife? Why?
She's the husband now. You are the mistress. I'm the wife.
Okay.
Okay.
Mistress.
Why did you give me that position? Why didn't you give me wife and give YK?
Don't worry, don't worry. Just leave it like that first.
No, I don't like that kind of
No,
example.
don't
YK is in love with me now. You all know.
All right.
Go ahead with your analogy.
So, I will now. Then I find out about you.
Yes.
We fight that fight.
Okay.
That marriage I can stay in because the person I'm fighting is alive. And I can. So you are going to beat her now. Let's beat ourselves.
Okay.
Me and you.
It's physical.
The mistress died. Who do I want to now fight?
Died pregnant. And the baby might be his. He wasn't even sure.
You see, I don't even want to know all that one. The woman died. So there is nobody I can battle with. It's a spirit.
So what would you do in this situation?
Spiritual warfare.
Wait.
Spiritual warfare. I say my baggy.
Why?
Okay, to leave is your
These
option.
are issues of
To
emotions.
leave is now. No, because
Where are you going?
it is okay to fight a live person.
That you can see.
You cannot
touch,
fight
feel.
in spirits. Now, forever and ever, inside that marriage, you will always wonder. Is he still thinking of her? Is he still, everything he does, is it her? Forever and ever inside that marriage. If the woman is alive and we are battling ourselves, and you decide to stay with me, and you didn't go with me, like, hey, I will know, hey, I won the battle.
Do you know that when, some of these movies that we watch, when the man is having something in the bedroom with the other, they see another face, and you'll be wondering, now that he's touching me, is he seeing this woman's face for the rest of your life?
Why do you have to fight?
Wow.
It's not fight.
YK is saying, if you was alive, you don't see who you were fighting, but she's dead. Why do you need to fight anybody?
It's not a fight.
Okay, so what do you do in your case?
We need to win a battle.
Calm down. No battle here.
Hey.
And these are issues of emotions. Why do you want to punish somebody about things he himself doesn't have control over? He could not guide his heart to stay with you. Maybe he stayed out of respect for you.
Hey.
He was married to you already but fell in love and chose to remain in a marriage when he could have divorced and move on. So for some people, it's a tough decision. It's a confusing period. And for some people, it's a long, confusing period. So you now, all you want to do now is, okay, this is my time to flesh back, to take my own pound of flesh. No, now. He cannot just say because she's dead this moment, he switches. And he's stable and he's fine. He can have his mourning period. Give him that. But if you don't want to give him,
how long did you give him for that mourning
because
period?
you will not go. When you suspected he was dating somebody, why do you want to go? When the person is no longer there, why are you fighting it? You are not. You give him time to grieve and we'll move on.
She didn't say she suspected you.
We didn't know that. So let's take Hassan from Lekki. Good morning, Hassan.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My condolence goes to Morayo.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
May the soul of the departed soul rest in perfect peace. Secondly, the yearning on that seat is a blessing, not only to that panel, but to Nigeria.
Amen.
She said something about newspaper review, about this issue not south of these others, that the governor should not polarize it and make it look like north-south issue. They should interface with themselves, solve the problem, so that we should not be the victims, going after each other's throats. That one by the side. Secondly, about this woman, we men, we should learn to respect our women.
Thank you.
We should learn to respect our wives.
Thank you.
Because what is very clear, it's an insult for you to leave your job because of the side chick and to come home and visited insult on your wife by mourning her before her. If you don't want her as a wife, there's a room for you. Divorce her, please. Don't insult her. That's very clear. Number two, you see, what is happening now? Women have to be very, very careful. Men are finding happiness outside. And in most cases, it has to do with the housewives. The women should embed the culture of making their husband happy inside. But what the man did is an insult. Because if you are taking side as a man, consider your sister, consider your daughter.
Yes.
This
Mr. Hassan.
is not a feminine or masculine issue.
Mr. Hassan.
This is a matter of humanity.
Mr. Hassan, hold on a minute before you go.
Yeah.
Why are you putting all the responsibility on the woman? Isn't that marriage supposed to be worked on by both of them? So if your wife is not making you happy, why don't you find ways and let her make you happy? Why can't you have a conversation with her? Do you need to go outside to seek that happiness?
The issue is this, Ubiazulu.
Sir?
Let me tell you one thing. It takes two to tango.
Yes.
The happiness at home is much more rested on the woman. What made you to marry her? She should maintain it. The courtship is much more happier than the inside. Then a woman should begin to ask herself, what goes wrong with me? Please, a woman should sit down and work on themselves. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. That's another
So
angle.
Hassan just, I think, echoed what I was saying. If for you, I believe that in marriage, the greatest thing you can give a spouse is peace and security in your relationship. So I'm enjoying that, and I think that's how marriages should be. If a man finally, mistakenly, for whatever reason, is in love with somebody, he's not going to wake up overnight just because the person passes and just switch to you overnight. So this is not the time to have the conversation. If, for instance, it takes him 2 years and you can't give that, or 2 months that you can't give, then you can say that's a breaking point for you. But as long as he had any kind of attachment to that person, he is bound to grieve that person. Some people grieve their parents forever, and it affects their relationship. Some people grieve a dead child. But are we judging him because it was an extramarital relationship?
That's why we judge him now.
We're not allowed to hiss on national TV because everything you say, I would have hit.
Jeez, now.
But let's go on a short break.
Thank you.
When we come back, we explore other solutions for this woman. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So we're still on this matter, and I want to ask this question. So if you're in a relationship and you find out that you alone are in monogamy, your other partner is in a polygamy, it's not like you guys had a conversation before it started. You just noticed in the course of the marriage that one person is doing polygamy without your knowledge, and you find out. How do you handle it for people who still love their partner and want to make it work? Because we've had stories of women who stayed through. You know, at the end of the day, the man in his 50s or 60s, when he can no longer move very well, now realizes that the love of his life is in the house. How can we begin to advise women to handle that sort of situation?
I think it's to each individual how it moves you. If I found out my partner is in a relationship, I will, if I can't take it, I will definitely have a discussion with him. Do you understand? I will have a conversation because communication is key. Yeah. I would converse. How do we do it? Are you going to continue? Now, if I can't take it, I pack my bag. If I can take it, but I will still be needling him inside the relationship. We renew. So you want to be going out, you know? So it depends on each individual what you can take. Because if you remember, I said here that I prefer to even know that you have a relationship outside.
Yeah, need to be secret.
For me to go and hear it
so
outside.
You can rearrange your mind.
I can.
Let's take this call. Aloy from Ebonyi. Good morning, Aloy.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. I like the topic you're treating. And moreover, the two sides to it, and so many sides to it, is interesting. Because what is good for you may not be good for another. The young man has his right to behave the way he's behaving, whereas a second person looking at him may say it's wrong. So his case is pathetic.
Hi.
Just like you look at you who is beating him as also not understanding. Meanwhile, I want to tell you that this is the first time I'm getting across to TV from Ebony State.
Oh, welcome
for over
to
2
the show.
years now. For over 2 years, I've been trying to reach you.
Oh,
yes, thank you.
so sorry.
And moreover,
Celebrate you.
I don't want this TV to be that of Southwest alone. It covers the whole Nigeria, especially here in Ebony State. So the topic you are handling is interesting. It has to do with human beings. So take it quieter and easier. God bless TVC.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I was going to respond
Yeah.
that if you know yourself, for instance, me, I'm a pepper body. As you see me, so that as much as I can accept polygamy, I'm a jealous person. I can jealously guard what I have.
I can feel it, baby.
So, now the truth be that. So if I feel in my relationship, I have done it in the past, and I hope my husband is not watching. If I cite that you have a relationship with somebody, a friend, classmate, even family member, I feel that it's a bit tilted too much than what I have with you. We are questioning the issue. So I cannot be in a marriage that I think that my husband is extremely in love with somebody enough to be grieving the person after death like this and be in denial. So once you accept that this is what you're faced with, allow the person his grieving time. Women in the history of this world have held on to men who don't love them for various reasons. For class, for money, for reputation, for everything. And you come out, you play the victim.
Wow.
So, yes. Some people will tell the man in the circle that I will destroy you. And the man will now stay in a marriage when he's not happy and be cutting corners. I mean, let him use his full chest to bring what he wants to bring up. Let us know what we are facing. The woman knows me, I know her, we are not fighting. Do you understand? When she dies, we allow him his grieving period. He will not have to resign any job and be saying it's difficult. If you like it, will take a lifetime. What I don't want is that it should not affect my well-being and the bills and the well-being of everybody left behind.
Can I ask you a question? If you didn't know about the woman,
it's still the same thing. What I don't know
so
cannot
you
kill
will
me.
be happy. Then that means you just assist him in mourning a ghost.
No, wait, okay.
Because there's a ghost in your marriage.
Even in this particular
Whichever way you
case,
look at it, there is a third party, and that person is not alive.
This emotion that we are discussing here, we are stretching it because we are talking about an illegitimate relationship. If it was a loved family member, uncle, and he's grieving it over Dunko.
No. A family member is different. This was same thing. This one they were having they were having quite
So you just want to revenge me. Abosede from Lagos. Good morning, Abosede.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Abosede. I'm calling from Maurice.
Okay, you're welcome.
I've been a fan of your program, and I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I've been following you since the inception, and today is the first time I'm getting.
Wow. Double celebration.
Over 8 years now. I've been in the days of Jumoke and all of it. I had to go to Murayo, the loss of her mother.
Thank you.
If I look at her, she looks like me. And every time I see her, I admire her person. So my heart goes to her. You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
You know, everybody can present, even without Murayo. I appreciate that. I admire you ladies. You are doing wonderful. God bless you. This topic you are discussing is very sensitive. I think the man is a polygamist. It's just that the wife is not aware that the man has been a polygamist. But he's been married to another woman, even while in another marriage, but he didn't tell his wife. And I think it's something that the lady needs to sit down and iron it out with the husband to know, like you guys said, to know if he really wants to continue with the marriage, you know, he's still with. Fine, he has lost the woman, you know, it's because we are human. We should not just look at the fact that she's a concubine. Let's look at the fact that somebody died.
Thank you so much, Abosede. Miriam.
Yeah, so, you know, talking about finding hard, fighting with a ghost, I get what YK is saying. My stepdad used to always say something about my mom that I think, like, when they have some of their little differences, he would say that he cannot compete with a ghost. So my dad, of course, we know he married as a widow. So, you know, there's this thing where the widow will always feel that the man that had passed was perfect.
Was perfect.
You know, there's something about remembering someone who has passed. You always remember them
with
the positive, you know, that they were good. So,
unless you hated them before they died.
okay. I don't, but, you know, so I can imagine for her, unfortunately for her, she did not get to meet this person or know about it while the person was alive. So that maybe even in their conversations, you'll be able to know what her own flaws were or what her weaknesses are. But what she now knows is a perfect person. Now, we have not even mentioned that this person who passed on was also married. And she has a husband and had a pregnancy that now the side husband and the real husband are not sure who the child is. So this is, you know, so this person on the outside, for me, I think the victim of this thing is the wife. And the only reason why we're having this conversation is because she wants to work it out. But, you know, you say something, which is, are women staying in marriages because they feel that that is what we have to do? Or are they staying in marriages because they want to stay in marriages? Are women staying in marriages because they are not empowered enough to move out on their own and start a life of their own? Is she staying back? Is she considering staying back in this marriage because she thinks that if she leaves... If she leaves, she may not be able to take care of herself or the children, or maybe there's a fall in status and things like that. But if she's doing it solely for her own happiness and her peace of mind, will she be asking the question? If she was empowered enough to carry herself and rent herself a place or buy herself a house or travel abroad and take her children to school, will she be asking that question? And so sometimes this question is not really about, I want to stay and work on my marriage. Is that, how do I maintain my status in spite of what has been done to me?
Let's take this call from Yakub, then we continue. Yakub from Dopemu, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Miriam and Sister Yena, and then Sister Nima, good morning.
Good morning.
On behalf of myself, my family, and then my friends, that they may not be able to call into the studio, that is love of your few, especially love of Morayo. My heart and then my sympathy and condolences go to the family of Akabash. I could remember, even though some of us, that the fans of your few, we have no opportunity to meet the woman one-on-one. But I could remember before the COVID, during the time of Mother's Day, that's the last time I saw the woman in the studio when she was telling us about Morayo's character and all that. So the woman already leave a good legacy behind in person of Morayo. If we are looking at Morayo, definitely we know the kind of mother she is, because she gives her all what it takes in order for her to be able to grow up in this life. And then the example is in the studio, as the last caller rightly said. Without Morayo, you can the work still go on. And then why is it like that? Because it gives you people opportunity to showcase what you have inside yourself. Yeah. So that is why she's a true leader. And once again, my heart goes to her, and then my sympathy goes to their family. May God Almighty Allah help the family to bear that loss.
Amen.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yakub. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us, you. Behind the scenes was hot. I wish you could.
Is on fire.
I'm telling you.
Studio is on fire.
We've heard over the years that marriage is for better, for worse.
Thanks.
And this is the worst of this marriage for this woman. Or not, if she decides to leave. How do we begin to talk to ourselves as women when things like this happen? Because the truth is, it happens. Everybody will not come out and share their story. But we have cases like this where the man inside the house will fall in love with somebody outside. And also, let's not forget that this woman who they fell in love with is not even a single girl. She had her own husband What happens to that man when he finds out that I'm not the only one mourning my wife, oh, a side boy is mourning my wife with?
It will be all right. Because just as Hassan who was saying, women should make their men happy. Whatever he did that made his wife, you know, confide. Because it starts from, my husband is not doing me well. That's how it starts. The other person that she can talk to in the office, the conversation she cannot have with you, it's your fault. I'm a Muslim. The Rasul said, guard your possessions. And it's talking about spouses. I cannot have a deep, bad moment now. And it's a colleague that will be my listening ear. What did Zibiri ear? Yes.
What if it's not available?
So that's
it
what
must
they're
be
saying.
available because I make myself available when I sense that vulnerability. I don't let his vulnerability be exposed to somebody else. That's where the devil comes in. And now the two of them now, extramarital relationship, and we are now discussing it.
Excuse me.
Okay, so there's a...
That ghost is a wonderful ghost. Everybody is fighting on her matter.
I'm telling you, she's
what's happening
strong.
inside this studio now, because of that ghost, and that's the marriage that we stay in.
Okay.
Listen, he needs to grieve. I accept, and I will even tell him sorry. Oh, my shit.
But you know,
just forgive me.
I have to take myself out of this situation.
Do you know what? I really do feel...
I'm not saying he doesn't need to grieve because he's a human being that died.
Yes.
I accept. It is just that me.
I can't be part of it.
I can't be grieving with
for your mental health.
For my own
personal,
because everybody in this situation has to think of
themselves.
Number one. At that point, I will say, when you finish grieving, come and see whether somebody has not come to take me away.
Wow.
But
so your own is for better, for stay, for worse, for go?
No, it's not for worse, for go.
Okay.
Because it can be financial. My husband goes into financial. I'm not going to leave him because of finances.
Okay.
I will stay with him. We will work it out together. There can be illness. I'm not going to leave my husband because he's ill.
Okay.
But this is a ghost. I will leave my husband because of a ghost. If he's having an affair with another woman, I won't leave my husband for that. Do you understand? I will not leave my husband because he's having an affair with another woman.
You can't be a comforter in time of such grief.
I don't know how to comfort
You see, because you have to remember that this is, like Mariam said, is an ephemeral thing. She is not looking at her there and me down there. And I'm still on the bed saying, yo, my leg. And he's looking at you.
You can never win that battle.
You can't win that battle.
I agree.
Why do you have to win?
Yeah, I agree.
So, and since I am a competitive person, I will let you battle alone. And just take myself for my own sanity. And I'm sorry, Pele, for better, for worse,
Miriam, I'll come to you.
This is no worse in this matter.
Let me take
this is not worse.
From Godwin. Godwin from Maryland. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. This is me, Godwin. This story is actually quite an interesting one, and this is something that I think that many families actually need to actually look into it properly. So my concern is this. I've been wowed, the audacity that the man actually has, actually even brings this up to his wife. And he's so ready to mourn this woman. You have to resign from your job and everything. If you tell me, some people will tell you it's like his village people has visited him also. But I think he actually went too far, and also bringing it to his wife is something that you don't just need to do. It's such a disrespect to the family, to the wife, and it's a disrespect to even the price that he even paid.
He paid.
Actually paid.
Come and collect it.
So that is for the man. Then for the woman, issue is just like it's a two-side thing for me. Now your wife is mourning his mistress. And he came to you to the house to let you know this. Now you're confused. You're trying to see how you can make your marriage work. A lot of women will not really take it. 80% of the women we have currently in Nigeria, newly married couple or thereabouts, will just take a walk and leave the marriage. But now she's there wanting to make a marriage work, to bring back a marriage. For me, it's a two-side thing. It's either on the positive side, she's from the lineage, or she's from the place that they want to keep their marriage at all costs, no matter what happens. They are ready to make it work. Or there is something that the husband has told her that we the public don't know, and she has said that maybe in either way she is at fault. Because for your husband to love your mistress that much and even come to your face to disrespect you, then that means there are some things that the husband has opened up to her that is like a force from her side.
Thank you so much, Godwin. Thank you, Miriam.
Yeah. Okay, you know, we're not even talking about the man on the other side who has found out, who has lost a wife and probably found out that she was also cheating on him. So for him, it will almost be like, well, at least she's gone. So he would not even have to face her and, you know, ask the questions and explanations. So somehow, would we even say that is closure? You know, it makes it easier. But this one, she has to live with a man that keeps mourning. I just feel really sorry for her. I think she's in a tight position. I think she's in a unique position where only she can determine where she wants to be, how she'll be happy. The man, in this case, cannot help her. Because right now, he's being selfish for himself, and everybody needs to be selfish, just as Waike said. So it's important that for her, she makes a decision for herself. But, you know, we have a culture of where married men see women on the side, and we take it almost like it's normal now. He will see someone on the side. Because we do not expect that it would get to the point where you're going to be resigning your job over the person. We expect it's just someone you see one day, and then in another 2 weeks, you change to the next person, and then there's no hold. But when there's a hold like that, it goes to show, for those who like to do it, that you need to be careful. It will cost you your marriage. Because there are some men who say it means nothing. That person meant nothing, or this thing I'm doing means nothing. This one means something. I'm coming back to you. But then you now find yourself in a situation where you cannot come back from, because the person, while in the height of the excitement, the person has passed. And all you can think of is the excitement that person brought. And then the marriage that you have, they are meant to work on, you're unable to work on it. Please, let's just
Fazia from Kaduna, then I'll come to you, Nima. Good morning, Fazia.
Fauzia.
Hello? Good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Good morning, you're live.
Hello? Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Fauzia. I'm calling from Kaduna.
Welcome.
Hello? Yes, this is my opinion. I think marriage is for two. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I said marriage is for two. For both the husband and wife to work things out. It's not a one-party thing. What I'm saying is, when people are saying the woman should make the men happy, make the men happy, what about the woman? Who will make her happy? You hear, okay, pray, go to God, pray to God, pray to... What about the man? He has an alternative, an option of going outside to meet another person to make him happy. And if she's not happy, she does not have any... for her to go back to God. I don't understand. This thing is I start to disagree with Mala and I think women should work in their... It's the two-party thing. It's the two-party.
Thank you so much, Fazia. Please, let's talk about... let's talk about this. Because I feel... Are you still there?
Go outside and meet another person.
Okay, she's gone. Let's talk about this. We always tend to blame...
It's breaking.
Okay, it's breaking. So we always find a way to blame women when their husbands cheat. And Hassan pointed out that when the man is looking for peace outside, it's your responsibility as a woman to give him peace and everything. Who gives the woman peace? That's one. Why do you have to blame somebody else for a grown-up's actions? Why? Why do we keep doing that?
Why do you always think that the man is going to look for peace? The man can be going out to look for excitement. We always feel that because that the woman... See, a man does not always live because there's no peace in the house. A man lives also because he wants excitement. Or he just wants one more extra option. It's not always because there's something that is wrong in the house. The thing is on the man who has decided that for whatever reason, I would rather step out than work on it. There are situations, really, where a man has issues at home and has been unable to work it out. Why then do you not now decide to end it so that you can now go on ahead and have another relationship. But for most of them, it's just about the excitement. That's why we're talking about these side chicks. The person brings excitement. We've talked about side chicks so many times, and people will say, there are some of the moves that wife is too old or too, too calm to do anymore because side chick is on the outside. And in that case, I don't know what the wife is supposed to do for you.
Hey, increase the excitement level so that you can keep your husbands. Let's go on the break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's look at the reverse. Let's take, for instance, it was the man who was weeping, that the wife is mourning her dead side gig or side guy. How do you think a man would take this, for instance?
How do you think NYMA will take it?
NYMA.
If the story was, it was the wife that had the side guy and her husband and her side guy died. And she starts to cry that, hey, my boyfriend don't die.
First of all, she resigns from her job.
She resigned from her. Maybe she's not even working herself. She had been living off you. Then she started to cry in the middle of the night. Yay, this my guy Tamedu is dead though. I knew the man. You are sitting beside her. Will you tell him to be supporting her?
Yes, now.
You should be supporting her?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Because we are a very calculative person.
Okay. Tell us your calculations.
In that marriage, that woman is staying for a reason. She's making it work for a reason. Whether for her, maybe she's in a monogamous relationship with him, she loves him enough to allow him, or she's staying for the children or status or whatever. So whatever reason you're staying is valid.
Hey.
Yes. And same goes for a man. And I know men, they are hunters. The man don't die. You first, you will not want to lose his wife.
Are you sure?
I'm not, see, in this one, if you want to lose your wife to a ghost,
dead person.
this is way to make amends and show her that you're better.
And for some men,
yes.
NYMA, not
see,
all.
when it comes to men, they don't think like us. They're not wired like that. They do things differently. And a lot of men have done things that they don't even talk about.
Yes.
But we women, we are quick to talk our own.
We shout.
That woman now is there. She can make herself happy.
Yeah.
You can just sit in your corner of your room and be saying, God, you take out this problem for me. God, you're a merciful God. And that alone is consoling for you. Yes.
What's the guarantee that this man will not find another side chick?
Can I take some tubes?
Okay. Before you take the tubes, we have a caller, Woke from Oshobo. Good morning, Woke.
Good morning, women, because I won't love to call you a lady.
Okay.
Or you want to you want to be like the way Fela said in his song, African women no go greet, then go say they're the lady.
Lady's fine for me, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Good morning to you all. Assalamu alaikum, NYMA.
Walaikum salam.
Quickly, my condolences to the regular host, and, I appreciate you guys for your program. One thing is this, there is no need to shift blame, and, one thing we lack most, especially in Africa, is men or women, we don't like to take responsibility for whatever we do. We love to shift blame.
Yeah.
We don't ever want to take the blame. Understand what I'm saying? So in this kind of case, when it happens, as a man that I am, and from experience, it's better for the woman to actually stay far away. Because the deed has already been done, and I think he has already decided.
Yes.
With the audacity and the disrespect, just to name a few. You understand what I'm saying? So in that kind of situation, if you say you are trying to work things out or anything, then you are just trying to deceive yourself. Whether you like it or not, the trust will never be the same again. And trust is key in every relationship, whether you like it or not. When you lose that trust, you are just heading, for some kind of futility.
Thank you so much, Woke.
That is just it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. Take some tubes.
Thank you. Let me take some tubes. I want to take Billy Case. She says, condone a man who is nursing his concubine in my matrimonial home. I beg, waiting with a talk self. Is she for real? I don't want to know. Mourn her in my absence because Vikotani, rada. Hey, I had to take that one.
It's Igbo and Yoruba mixed. Mix everything.
Everything. It says, even if you get on polls, as some women claim to do, the man will still cheat. If you get on polls, she's saying the man will still cheat. PJ comedian, the man that polygamist, where they disguise sins, he just used her death to come out of the closet, Jerry. Imagine him telling his wife that at least the other woman is dead. That should just care for herself. That woman should just care for herself. Please, let's not forget that she is the breadwinner. Now the man resigned from his work.
Hey, we did not talk about
who.
That one, then we go address.
I think it is more the question of her self-worth. Yeah. That is, and I love that tweet because it is my self-worth. I cannot, because I love myself so much. Sit down. You are not money.
Treated anyhow.
When I say, okay, let's even save the marriage, let's go to therapy. You say no.
You say no.
I want to go to grief therapy. On top my own body, no problem. In fact, I go help you. Just not while I'm inside the same bed.
Okay, you can help from outside.
Okay, from outside, I can be sending you prayer
points.
Prayer points. Use this to pray. But that me, with all my self-worth, will feel that me and Ghost, or better still, make we go cemetery together.
Yeah. Let's take this call from Salam. Salam from Abuja. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Salam.
Yeah, good morning.
We can hear you.
Good morning. Listening to the TV, right?
Please do not listen to the TV.
From Abuja.
We can hear you. Good morning.
First-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
My wife is a very good fan of yours, but unfortunately she's not at home now for me to make this contribution, so I'm very free. You see, men generally are polygamous in nature. And even those that are married to only one woman, still somehow, they are feeling to some ladies outside.
Really?
Even if they don't display, that is the truth. But in this case, if such things happen, the wife at home just needs to thank God and move on. And seize that opportunity to establish a new connect with the husband.
Establish a new connect. Wow.
Let me take some of these messages.
You see, sorry, Nima. I hear him. It's just that my pride
will not let you.
Establish
a new connect.
Because I don't want to connect with you right now.
I'm vexing.
Okay, what about
I'm vexing. I'm mourning. I'm mourning.
My
marriage.
Yes, the death of your marriage.
Yes. You are mourning your mistress. I'm mourning my marriage. That's it.
I need time too to process.
You see, I hear that yes. I hear Nima that yes. I give him time to grieve. I hear, but not while I'm there. When you are finished grieving,
because you need to grieve too.
The death of my marriage.
It's you that have where to go. Because now you're attacking, chat. You that you have two houses.
I wanted to bring that point out, Nima.
I think I'm almost leading, so come says, let him continue mourning. If that is not enough, he can go and join the dead mistress. He will have to simply face her life and her children because she has lost the man. Mogubi Oluwabide says, the feeling he has for this lady is too much. But then he has to cheer up and continue his own journey. Why? Because one day all of us will kukuma go eventually. Marian says, if it's the other way around, will the man come and be asking questions?
No,
in fact, the man has finished with immediate effect. The woman should leave him to cry out his eyes. He will be fine.
But do we think that this man can ever come back?
Yes, now. That's the thing. We're looking at this as just right now. It's a process. You will grieve and then now start feeling ashamed. Now realize what he has. Yes. You will not start feeling ashamed of himself. Oh my God, look at what I've done. Yes. Not only have I cheated, I now brought it home. And then, if he's a normal person, he may now begin to try to find how he can win his wife over.
Wow.
And probably, I'm just thinking that for a woman to say, how can I work this out, is that she's seen a part of him that she feels is redeemable. We can work something out. Because this thing that we're all saying, oh, how the audacity, it's a period of time. It's short. That's the first response. It's the response of anger. But after anger, then what? And as NYMA pointed out, if you're like Waike has her daughter and her grandchildren. She's living. Waike is living. Yeah, Waike is living the life. Waike has the wherewithal to take a walk. We have some young couple. They've just had maybe their first or second child. They're putting resources together to build a home, and then this happens. Leaving that house to her maybe, maybe too much is stress. But she feels we can work it out. Only if she thinks she can work it out.
That's the only way.
Things out.
What's
of the resources to move away?
Let's take this call. Mary from Kaduna. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello?
Good morning. We can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're listening to the TV. Just speak directly to us.
I'm calling from Kaduna. My name is Mary. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
First-time callers.
Hello, I'm a first-time caller.
Just listening.
You're listening to the TV, ma'am.
Listen to your phone.
Hello, my name is Mary. I'm calling from Kaduna.
I think we have to let.
So I know women, while in the university, I knew girls who would never leave the hostel in school to a hostile home. The alternative to move on from a bad situation is luxury to some people, not open to everybody. So this woman will stay in that marriage. My question is, when you stay in that marriage, do you run mad like the man?
Somebody has to be sane.
Wow. Calculate and well. Because two people, they craze, now two people lose. Do you understand? He's grieving, give him time. But at that point in time, you're focused on what and how every other thing will work. Your children will not, you end up grieving with him. But if you end up fighting, you don't calculate the time of fighting. You might end up grieving with him. Now, a man who is already grieving is emotionally becoming down. A man is already emotionally attached to this woman. It shows that he can be committed to anything. He stayed with you in that marriage, even though he was in love with somebody, he can be committed to something. Let grief get to guilt. Give grief time to get to guilt when he will look and say, I've been at this woman's head, cash me. The way this thing even happens, safe.
NYMA, honestly, I feel disrespected that we will be in the same house and you will fall in love. You will fall in love with another person.
The issue is that you're feeling disrespected without having any respect.
Just remember. Wait, I'm not against you having mistress. I'm not against it. Remember my stance. I don't care whether you have mistress or not. That's
that you fell in love is a crime.
Wait now.
No, it's only the love. Wait,
when people have mistress, what do you think will happen?
The mistress now died.
I got money.
Then you didn't go and rent a hotel. And cried there.
You don't have the money
for 2 weeks.
Is this our house that we have?
You came to the bed that I'm sleeping.
To be crying this cry.
You didn't go and sleep in the children's room. Let's say we don't have, or in the parlor. Let's say we don't have 2 rooms. You didn't go and sleep in the parlor.
There's one kind of grief that will catch you at 3 a.m. See, no boy, you can't.
Sleep it in the parlor and grieve it in the parlor.
You can't even get up.
Let me sleep.
Grief weakens you. I have grieved.
So because you are grieving, I should now get old.
Let me say this.
NYMA, hold your thought. Let me take this call. I'll come to you, please. Bernard from Port Harcourt. Good morning. Bernard. Good morning, Bernard.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead.
Hello?
You're live.
Okay. My contribution there is that looking at the way women are wired, women stand the position of controlling even a man in their house. As a woman, you have all it takes to control your man within you, not outside you. But a man has everything a man has to control a man is outside. If you don't have money, you don't have something. Even when a woman is angry and a man might not have the word to even console a woman. But when a man is angry, if a woman who knows what a woman is, you can control your man, and your man will become a mumu for you.
Now, wow.
Now, I want to talk to the fella. I quite understand her very well, her position. Now, I want to tell her that with her position, she cannot get a man who will go outside. because she knows herself, and she will give the same thing to her man.
I don't get this position, ma'am.
Thank you.
As if she knows her self-worth.
Okay, self-worth.
That a man would not dare disrespect her because he knows that she will disrespect the person
we are talking about. Do we earn it just because we got a ring and got married? How do we earn respect?
Now that's
okay, so if you earn respect in marriage because you got a ring, how do you earn respect in friendship?
I mean, you must have been friends before you got married and everything.
You invest.
So the reason why I'm in a marriage with someone, so the reason I'll be in a relationship and I'm married with somebody has to be that we have invested in each other. I'm not going to marry a stranger off the street.
That's for you.
Oh, okay, there are some people that have just met.
That's not universal.
So some people are arranged marriages.
I'm just married to you, and you must keep this relationship. You must be faithful to me. It's not universal.
How do we get our men? Hold on first. How do we get our men to begin to take responsibility for their actions? Because I think we make a lot of excuses for them. We give them excuses. We say, because the man is not giving you, the woman is not giving you peace in the house. The woman is not giving you monkey in the shadow style. The man is not dropping, you know. And then they go outside and they feel it's okay to bring any bad behavior home and expect you, the woman, to take it. How do we begin to hold them accountable? That the cheating is on you and only you will bear the consequences.
See, for a lot of the callers, male callers that called, they said that this is disrespectful.
Yeah.
They found it almost preposterous. How would the man dare to mourn in front of the woman? So they understand that it's disrespectful. They understand that it's disrespect. They understand that the man must have, it's either he has one sort of audacity or he's not really all right. Because for them, for them is do your dirty things outside the house. Let her not know and keep it away. So if you're unable to do that, then there has to be something wrong. So men understand. But the people that give them the audacity or the reason to do it so openly, it's the women. I think we need to talk to the women. It's about self-worth. What are you willing to receive? What are you willing to take? Where do you draw the line? Where do you say to a husband or a man you're in a relationship with, this one we're not coming back from? Everybody that you have a relationship with always test the boundaries. You always see what more they can get from you. Keep testing. And then you decide where it stops.
You train what you tolerate. Your final words, Waike, we're wrapping up.
My own is, you see, I've always said it here. I'm not against polygamy. My father was a master polygamist. My mother didn't live in.
She stayed.
She stayed.
And she was happy.
That is questionable. I will not leave my man because he cheats on me. I've said it at this table many, many times.
Yeah.
I will not.
It's not your deal breaker.
It's not my deal breaker. I would prefer for you to tell me if you're having an affair. So I prefer to know.
My colleague.
You know, I don't want to hear it outside. I prefer you tell me. But you cannot mourn your mistress where I am.
You're not allowed.
That one is a deal breaker.
Nima, your final thoughts as we wrap up.
In life.
What word of advice would you give to this woman?
Be happy. Be
Like
very concerned about your sanity and happiness. If living works for you,
okay.
But if it doesn't, don't go and create that ship for yourself because you want to make a statement. You see that market noise? It's a very, very treacherous.
Yeah, thank you so much. For me, I would say the woman needs to put herself first. Her mental health is very important. So like you said, if she can stay in that environment and work out her marriage, fine, all good. That's what we are praying for. But if she knows that she cannot and she needs to take herself away from that toxic environment, she's free to do so. That's all we can take on the show. No, she's giving her last one. That's all we can take on the show. Thank you so much.
You're thinking about the ghost.
Thank you so much. We'll come your way again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
More spirits where I did.